Hello and welcome to another video about cryptocurrencies. In this video, I'd like to do something a little bit different. I'd like to make you aware of a few facts and indicators that point to the possible scenario that a sell-off could come sooner than we all think. And there are a few things actually that point me towards that direction as well. But I want to make something clear here. I am a long-term holder. I am very bullish still on the whole market. And Cardano is my biggest holding, and I'm not going to sell any of my cryptos at the moment. I'm not going to sell any of my ADA, but I think what on this channel I want to do, I want to give you a broader picture of the whole market. And I don't only want to talk about charts and talk about, cup and handles and double bottoms and so on and moving averages and hype everything and talk about that we could see new all-time highs in a few weeks and stuff like that, if certain indicators point to a different direction. And I want to make you aware of that. And I haven't talked about these specific indicators on this channel before. And I think it's important if you're investing in crypto that you know about these indicators. However, they are Bitcoin indicators, but we all know that the Cardano price still is very much related to the Bitcoin price. And we need to understand that a lot of these indicators do only exist for Bitcoin. So it's important to take these as guidance, and then we can make our own conclusions about our favorite altcoin Cardano. And I also want to make clear, I don't believe that we will see a crash tomorrow or something. I think there is still a little bit of scope to the upside, but I'm not that sure anymore if we will see new all-time highs this year. I still think we will. And I still think that we may see the 100,000 this year on Bitcoin and everything. And I want to see that, yeah. But I feel it would be wrong if I know about these indicators and I have come to these I have these thoughts and I don't make you aware of it, yeah. Because if that scenario happens, and it is realistic, anything can always happen in the crypto market. Anything can always happen in financial markets. And people who say differently, really, I don't think have an understanding of financial markets, because anything is really possible at any time. So we need to understand that. And I just want to make you aware of it. As I said, and I want to repeat that, I don't think we will see a sell-off very soon, but it is a possible scenario and it could really come sooner than we all think. And I base that on some key indicators, and they are just there. That is not my opinion. They are just there, and I want to talk you through them. And I think if you're invested in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, or whatever, it's important that you get an understanding of them as well and follow my thoughts and then come to your own conclusions. I don't want to hype anything here. I still believe we could see new all-time highs, but it's important for you then, I think, to follow channels like this one and stay really close to the price action and understand what's going on. And, I don't need to be right all the time. Of course not. Nobody is. I think in financial markets, it's actually good if you're right more than 50% of the time, so that would be good. But anyway, I just want to make you aware of it. I feel it would be wrong not to make you aware of it. And on this channel, as I said, I want to give you a broader picture of the whole market, and not just certain indicators, but really, we talked about on-chain data already on this channel, and many people like that. So I want to do something that's a bit different to other channels as well, and not just really hype the whole market. I also want to make you aware that it's always important to stay on the side of caution, because eventually everybody worked hard to save money and everything, and you just want to be well informed to make your own decisions. That is why this is not financial advice. This is my own opinion and my own thoughts, and you need to come to your own conclusions. Let's take a look at the first indicator here, and I'm talking about the relative unrealized profit loss. And what that is, and I want to explain that to you briefly. This is a relation of the current market cap of Bitcoin. And I said I'm talking about Bitcoin because the prices are related, aren't they? So this is a relation of the current market cap of Bitcoin and how many, let's say, Bitcoin investors are in profit or realize profits, okay? So the detail is not too important to understand at this point in time. I can make a separate video on that. But what I really want to show you, I want to introduce you to this chart. So we've got a green zone here, which is called capitulation. If we are in the capitulation phase with the Bitcoin price, with this relative unrealized profit loss chart or graph, which is the red line here, yeah. So this is the relative unrealized profit loss. If we are in the green zone here, in the capitulation phase or zone, this has historically always been a really good moment for people to invest in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, okay? Now that was the case in autumn 2011, in January 2015, you know, sort of the first half of the year 2015, and then again in December 2018 up until, yeah, pretty much April 2018 or even 2019. So it was a really long period. And then again in March 2020 when we had the huge crash. And that's pretty much it, right? That's pretty much it. However, on the other hand, if we move up into hope and fear, optimism, denial, and then into greed and especially euphoria, this has always been a time where it was better to sell, right? So we can see that here that, for example, after June 11, the price of Bitcoin dropped from $27, really nice prices at the time, by the way, down to, yeah, not even $250, okay? Then that happened again, and here again, and the price crashed, here again, and the price crashed. Then again, we were in the green zone, and it was really good to buy, so the price went up. Then here in December 2017, we were actually touching the euphoria phase, but we were definitely in greed. And after that, the price dropped as well. You know, from where were we? It's a bit hard to get the price here, but you know, I think it was around 20,000 at the time. And then we actually dropped down to 3,200, right? Which was then again a good time to buy. So this is really makes sense. And this has historically been very accurate. So lastly, in March 2020, where we were at a price of around $6,000, right? Since then, we've been moving up. And we are actually, even with the latest drop, we've only found our way into the optimism phase. So from here now, we are actually going up again, and we are moving into the greed phase now. So that is for me a really bad sign. That is a really bad sign. And I know there is still scope from here to the euphoria phase, but historically always when we've been in the greed phase, that was a sign for a sell-off. I mean, we can see that here, which was in June 2019, we were touching the greed phase, and after that we saw a drop of the price from around 11,000 down to 5,000 roughly. Okay, and then we briefly touched the greed phase here. That was in August 12th. And again, the price went down, not drastically. And it seems like the higher we are in greed, the more the price drops. Now, I have no way of saying now, you know, we are in greed, that's fact. But, you know, how much that space that we still have to get to euphoria, I mean, do we even get there? And if we get there, how much will that price drop be? I have no idea, but I just wanted to make you aware of this first indicator. That's the first one I wanted to show you. And it gives a picture that it's not all going to the moon necessarily. There is a risk, and I want you to be aware of that. The next one is the active address sentiment indicator. This measures the sentiment in the market. And what we can see here is, first of all, the blue line again is the Bitcoin price since 2015. Yeah, so we're currently here, August 2021. And what we can see here is that we have the 28-day active address change in percent, which is a gray line, which is a bit hard to see. Okay, but let's just say I try to explain it as easily as I can. So we have the price here, and if the price goes up faster, yeah, then the average of the 28-day active address change, then it is a risk. Okay, so it means if not enough in terms related to the price, yeah. For example, if the price goes up too fast for new addresses, yeah, so not enough new addresses are created in the Bitcoin network, but the price goes up too fast. And actually, to be on the safe side, more active addresses would need to be created, but they are not. They are lagging behind a little bit. And you have this growing difference between the price, in the change in price, and how many new addresses are created. Then you get above this red line here. So there is a red line which is called the upper bound. And whenever that took place before, we saw a price drop. Okay, so very drastically, you can see that actually here when the all-time high took place in 2017. After that, the price dropped. It really is every time that went out of the red zone. Okay, you can check that chart here on look into Bitcoin.com and you make your own picture. But really, every time we went out of this red zone, there was a price drop. Even sometimes only a minor one, but there was one, and then it dropped back in, and then the price could go up afterwards, but really every time. And sometimes a minor price drop, but sometimes a bigger price drop. Okay, so here, for example, let's just take that example on the 20th of June 2016. Yeah, we went out, and then the price dropped from around $679 to 576. Now that wasn't massive, but in percent, that is actually also quite a lot. So I just wanted to make you aware of that as well. And obviously, the more this yellow line, which is that 28, which is that measurement that I was talking about, if that gets above the red line, there is more risk. And historically, always when we were below the lower bound line, then it was a really good time to buy Bitcoin. Unfortunately, now we are above that red line. And again, there might be a little bit, or there might be some scope to move to the upside. But still, I just wanted to make you aware of it. So please be aware of that. You can follow that on lookintobitcoin.com, and please make yourself familiar with that. Another thing, people were talking about a cup and handle forming on, doesn't matter, Bitcoin or Cardano, the prices move very similar. So there are a few YouTubers who talked about a cup and handle forming. If you don't know what a cup and handle is, it essentially, you can see that currently on the Bitcoin chart. You can see prices going up, and then you really see pretty much like the shape of a cup that is forming. What then normally happens is you form that handle here, so it's sort of a downtrend sideways movement, after which then the price could go up, and normally it goes up, sort of that range here, like the, I believe like the, sort of the depth of the cup, for example, right? So just to give you a broad idea. Now, is that really a good indicator or pattern? It could be. And I haven't seen that myself, to be honest. Or I saw it, but I wasn't quite sure. But you can clearly see something is forming here. And that is actually a bullish pattern. However, let's take a look at what happened before. And I just want to make you aware that these patterns don't always work out, which is why I always believe it's important to take a look at other indicators as well. As I just showed you, the relative unrealized profit loss, or the active adverse sentiment indicator, just to name a few examples. Now we are now here in 2017, 2018. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm just making that a bit clearer here. What we can see here, we can see something very similar at the time. We drop down, we can see that cup forming. And from a cup and handle perspective, you would actually have expected, a sideways move here, and you could actually see the beginning here. What people would have expected with a cup and handle is actually that it would have jumped up, right? But it didn't. It just dropped to really, really massive lows, from that $20,000 all-time high down to 6,500. That's why I believe it doesn't necessarily work with Bitcoin or Cardano, that cup and handle, because you actually came from this massive all-time high, and you dropped, which is very similar to where we were just after May. We dropped massively, and then you are actually in an uptrend. Then you see that forming, but it didn't work out. It's actually a downtrend. So that is a risk. I just want to make you aware of it. And people were talking like cup and handle, and it doesn't always work out. And I also want to show you that on the Cardano chart. So we are now on the Cardano chart, and that's cup and handle. And for example, All in Crypto talked about it. And by the way, great channel. I watch it every day. It's a great channel, and we are all one community here. But I just want to make you aware of a different perspective. So All in Crypto talked about it. I believe someone else as well. And I'm not watching every video on YouTube. But again, here the argument was that there could be this cup and handle forming, and that you can see this potentially beginning of a of the handle, and after that we could see a new all-time high. And it is a possibility, and it really is actually the shape of a cup. I don't want to argue that. It's a bit noisy. There's a lot of noise in this chart, and that is what generally is the case if you do technical analysis. But I want to show you what happened actually before, and it's similar to Bitcoin. So what we can see here, and it's not that clear to see, but if I adjust that slightly, we can see as well that we had that all-time high, and then we dropped, and you can see that shape of a cup forming. and then we saw that beginning of a handle, but we didn't go up. Now, it was a bit different back then, because when that sort of handle would have started, it was really, really low compared to the old all-time high. So what we can see now, obviously, is that we are much higher and that we're actually nearly at the all-time high. And I believe things would look a little bit different if we were already above the all-time high, because that would indicate actually an upward trend, you know, on the very long term. But actually we see a lower high here, which we did before, and we didn't see a cup and handle forming with a bullish outcome. And on Bitcoin as well, and I just made that clear on the Bitcoin chart. On top of that, we are still in overbought territory. And you know, guys, I still believe we see an all-time high, and I hope that we will. But I just wanted to make you aware in this video about the risk that is there in the market, that there is always some risk, and just be aware of it. That's all I want to tell you. And if there are some people who say, again, you know, I have no clue, but I just showed you the facts, and these are just charts I showed you, and you can come to your own conclusions. And I said, I still believe we will see a new all-time high this year, but I just want to make you aware of this realistic possibility that things could be dropping. And, you know, I talked in this morning's video, I think, I talked about the potential of a correction, and that doesn't need to be a crash or anything, but it could be a correction. And I actually said that I would like to see a sideways movement. And someone took that apparently personal, but said everything looks bullish. Now, I don't necessarily think everything looks bullish if we look at the greed index, and it is tricky. It is really tricky. Nobody really knows in the end. But I thought it's important to give you a picture of the whole market and of different indicators that other YouTubers don't necessarily talk about, and then relate that to Cardano as well. And I hope you appreciate that. Let me know if you want to see more videos that really talk about different indicators, not just, you know, these purely technical charts, but also about some of the more not necessarily fundamental stuff, because fundamentally nothing has changed. Fundamentally everything looks awesome, let's be honest. But there are certain cycles in markets, and people react pretty much always in the same ways. So, you know, when you look at the past, sometimes you can predict the future. So I just wanted to make you aware. Hopefully you liked that video. It's a bit different to the other videos I'm making, but hopefully that helps you as well. Hope you liked it. If you did, please smash the like button. And if you want to follow me on this crypto journey, please subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.